Hello, Fearless fam. Welcome to No Filters, No Fears, episode 82. This is a level 2 elephant. So today's episode is a little bit different. I was intrigued by this movie called Love is Blind 2019. It was about a woman who was not able to see her mom. She has selective perception, but in the movie they exaggerated it, I believe, to the point where she was not able to see her even though they lived in the same house together. She was not able to hear her either, so she was not able to communicate with her even though her mom was right there with her. She was not able to at all see her. So it got me thinking about selective perception and what that is and how it looks like in our everyday life, because we do it every day. We select little things here and there and we don't even realize we're doing it. So what is selective perception? Selective perception is the tendency not to notice and more quickly forget stimuli that cause emotional discomfort and contradict your prior beliefs. So back to the movie, Love is Blind, right? This is the main character right there on the top left corner. She is unable to see her mom. So based on the definition, selective perception is a tendency not to notice and more quickly forget stimuli that cause emotional discomfort. So if we go based on that, because in the movie something happened with her mom that made her, I guess, not be able for her to see her, because when she was younger her mama left. So I guess that was the cause of this huge, like, selective perception type thing. So I thought it was really intriguing that it could go to that capacity where you could not see a whole person that's right sitting in front of you. The movie was really intriguing. And obviously they sent her to a psychiatrist so they could unlock what's going on, what's happening, why can't she, see her, X, Y, and Z. So as I was doing my own research on what selective perception is, selective perception has 4 stages, which is selective exposure, selective comprehension, selective attention, and selective retention, right? They sound like all self-explanatory. Selective in all forms of life, in all forms of like what you interact with. So I'm gonna break it down for us because this is really interesting. So selective retention is retaining to the mind in the process whereby people more accurately remember the messages that are closer to their interests, values, beliefs than those that are in contrast with their values and beliefs, selecting what to keep in the memory, narrowing that information flow. Selective comprehension, consumer interpret messages in line with their beliefs. So again, anything that we do with our selective of what we're intaking has to deal with our own beliefs and how we feel about it. So I was thinking about how when you are in class and you're just listening to the teacher, for example, for me, the math would just one ear at the other because I'm not really good at it and I already have my preconceived notions that I was not ever going to get it, right? So then I was never, it's like I paid attention to what I wanted to and not what I needed to. So that information is what I picked up, right? So, selective attention refers to the process that allows an individual to select and focus on particular input for further processing while simultaneously suppressing irrelevant or distraction information, which is what I just described. So, selective exposure, these selections are made based on their perspective, beliefs, attitudes, and decisions. People can mentally dissect the information they are exposed to and select favorable evidence while ignoring the favorable. again, again, dealing with what we input, what we receive, what we get, and what we get, all that information, we are overstimulated every single day on our lives. Like there's just a lot of information going in, and we don't even realize we're doing it. Like our brain is doing that on their own, just sifting through the information, and we're retaining whatever we're retaining. At the end is when we realize, because then you self-reflect. It's like, did I learn this? Was this real? Like, you don't even realize you're doing it. So I thought that this movie, Love Is Blind, was it was a good example on how we do that to ourselves every day. Not to the extent of this character unable to see a whole like ass person, unable to see her mom. But I thought the concept was interesting about selective perception and how we use it in our everyday. So yes, basically, selective perception is a personal filtering of what we see and hear so as to suit our needs. So much of this process is psychological and often unconscious, like we mentioned. So have you ever been accused of only hearing what you want to hear? In fact, that is quite true. So we simply are bombarded with too much stimuli every day to pay equal attention to everything. So we pick up and choose according to our own needs. That's what we mentioned, and that is the truth. We only grab onto what is necessary at that moment, what we need to hear. Yeah, since this is psychological, this deals with cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance refers to a situation involving conflicting attitudes, beliefs, or behavior. This produces a feeling of mental discomfort, leading to an alteration in one of the attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors to reduce this discomfort and restore balance. This is one of the ways that you could, help selective perception in a way, you know, is by changing these behavior, these patterns, and these things in order for you to, we're going to be, honestly, we're going to be stimulated regardless, because there's so much out there, so much information, so many things that we see here. So it's just going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot for us to intake. But there's little baby steps that you could do to reduce that. One of the ways is that is to change the attitude. Cognitive dissonance theory suggests that we have an inner drive to hold on to our attitudes and behavior in harmony and avoid disharmony or dissonance in this case. This is known as a principle of cognitive consistency. When there is an inconsistency between attitude and behavior, something must change to eliminate the dissonance. Notice that the dissonance theory does not state that these modes of dissonance reduce will actually work. Only that individuals who are in a state of cognitive dissonance will take steps to reduce the extent of the dissonance. The theory of cognitive dissonance has been widely researched in a number of situations to develop the basic idea in more detail, and various factors that have been identified which may be important in attitude change. So changing your attitude, forced compliance behavior, decision making. These are little steps that we could take in our everyday to change the way we see the selective perception. Like, when they say be in the now, and try to focus on one thing and try to give your whole attention to this particular situation, to what's happening. It has happened to us many times where we're talking to somebody else, but you're on your phone, and then you're like, yeah, and then they say something that's important, but because we were on our phone, we didn't give the right answer, or we're not giving his full we're not giving a full attention to the conversation. So it's like purposefully to be there in the moment with the other person, and that might reduce the selective perception that we're going through every day. But little things like that can change. Yeah, this whole movie just had me just up in my head about how we do this every day and we don't even pay attention to the fact that we're doing it. It just happens. And, you know, again, I know we've been in plenty of instances where we're having a conversation with somebody and then you're like, were you even listening? And that could get the other person frustrated because it's like, I was just having a conversation with you and apparently I was having it alone. We all have gone through that, and unfortunately it's not a pleasant thing to go through because you're obviously trying to have a conversation with someone but they're not paying attention. So ways to reduce that is by being in the present and actually having that one-on-one conversation. No distractions, just try to be in the present moment with that person. Little steps like that will change the situation about this selective perception. So, since this is a small episode and this is just me ranting about this selective perception and how I got to the topic, we do have quote quotes though. I do have three that I found that I like. So here we go. Attempting to express a person's objective reality and subjective state of mind with the written word is an endless task because written alters our perception of reality and amends our mental equilibrium. Kilroy Oldster. Yes, yes, I know that was a mouthful. Reality is ultimately a selective act of perception and interpretation. A shift in our perception and interpretation enables us to break old habits and awaken new possibilities for balance, healing, and transformation. David Simon. Your concentration must come as easily as the breath. Fix yourself on one thing and try to hold on to it. All will come right. Meditation is sticking to one thought. That single thought keeps away other thoughts. The dissipated mind is a sign of its weakness. By constant meditation, it gains strength. Ramana Maharshi. Totally agree with that. Again, like I was just explaining, be in the now, be in the moment, be in the present, and when you're receiving information, obviously we will always have other type of information to be altered to our needs, our wants, or what we like, X, Y, and Z. But obviously expanding and searching for things we don't know, things we don't understand, and things that make us uncomfortable, especially things that make us uncomfortable, will start changing our behavior, our beliefs, and it will start changing the way that we see the world and view the world. Hence why No Filters, No Fears like to talk about topics that make other people uncomfortable, because that is one thing that will give you that selective perception thing where you are not choosing to listen to us because it makes you uncomfortable because that topic, it's going to be something that you don't want to talk about. So you choose not to, you don't want to listen to us. And we respect that and we're perfectly fine with that. But those are little things that could change the behavior and open our minds and change our perspective of how we see the world, And I hope that this little video got you thinking on how you view your life and how you are, like, how do you behave while with other people? Are you in the moment? Are you listening to everything? How much stimuli do you get a day? Do you overwhelm yourself with so much information? Like, these are questions I have that arise while I was watching the movie, because how much do you give yourself a day? Like, how much stimuli do you get that you don't notice that you are receiving? these are questions that you should ask yourself. And if you're able to reduce it, so you can get more information into your mind and actually retain that information and have a better, outlook and, smooth ride after this, then yeah, we should sit with ourselves and think about that. I hope that you enjoy the episode, selective perception, and how much stimuli we get a day, and how our brains are trying to, help us. We just pick and choose what we need. And I feel like, yes, great, that helps, but at the same time, what can we do to reduce that and actually gain more information in other areas that we um, don't know much about. So thank you for watching this short episode, Selective Perception. If you guys have more information on this, if you guys want to talk about it more, a message, you know where to find us. If you have any information, just send us our way and we'll, chat, we'll talk about it. And hopefully we'll see you next episode. And thank you for watching. Stay fearless, everyone.